Hello everyone, this is Dr. Mayank Kulshrestha, working as a senior assistant professor in School of Pharmacy, BBD University, Lucknow, Babu Banarsidas University, Lucknow. Today I am going to discuss the something about pneumonia, something about dengue, lymphatic filariasis, which is a part of the subject social and preventive pharmacy. The paper code is BP802T, which is a part of BPharm 4th year, 8th semester. So, first we discuss about the dengue. Dengue fever is a mosquito-borne tropical disease caused by dengue virus. Symptoms typically begin 3 to 14 days after infection. These may include a high fever, headache, vomiting, muscles and joint pains, and a characteristic skin rashes. Recovery generally takes 2 to 7 days. In a small proportion of cases, the disease develops into several dengue, severe dengue, also known as dengue hemorrhagic fever, resulting in bleeding, low level of blood platelets, and blood plasma leakage, or dengue shock syndrome, where dangerously low blood pressure occurs. Dengue is spread by several species of female mosquito of the Aedes genus, principally Aedes aegypti. The virus has five serotypes. Infection with one type usually given lifelong immunity to that type, one only short-term immunity to the others. Subsequent infection with a different type increase the risk of severe complication. A number of tests are available to confirm the diagnosis, including detecting antibodies to the virus or its RNA. A vaccine for dengue fever has been approved and is commercially available in a number of countries. As 2018, the vaccine is only recommended in individual who has been previously infected or in population with a high rate of prior infection by age 9. Other methods of prevention include reducing mosquito habitat and limiting exposure to whites. This may be done by getting rid of a covering, standing water, and wearing clothing that covers much of the body. Treatment of acute dengue is supportive and include giving fluid either by mouth or intravenously for mild or moderate disease. For more severe cases, blood transfusion may be required. About half of a million people require hospital admission every year. Paracetamol, which is chemically known as acetaminophen, is recommended instead of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs for fever reduction and pain relief in dengue due to an increased risk of bleeding from NSAIDs use. Dengue has become a global problem since the Second World War and is common in more than 120 countries, mainly in Southeast Asia, South Asia, and South America. About 390 million of people are infected in a year and approximately 40,000 die. In 2019, a significant increase in the number of cases was seen. The earliest description of an outbreak date from 1779. Its viral cause and spread were understood by the early 20th century. Apart from eliminating the mosquitoes, work is ongoing for medication directed at the virus. It is classified as a neglected tropical disease. The sign and symptoms typically the person infected with dengue virus are asymptomatic 80% in cases or have only mild symptoms such as uncomplicated fever. Other has more severe illness 5%, and in a small proportion it is life threatening. The incubation period ranges from 3 to 14 days, but most of the 4 to 7 days. Therefore, travelers returning from endemic are likely to have dengue fever if symptoms start more than 14 days after arriving home. Children often experience symptoms similar to those of the common cold and gastroenteritis, vomiting and diarrhea like, and have a greater risk of severe complication through initial symptoms of generally mild and including high fever. There are some associated problems are there. Dengue can occasionally affect severe of the body system, either in isolation along with the classic dengue system. A decreased level of consciousness occur in 0.5 to 6% of severe cases, which is attributable either to inflammation of the brain by virus or indirectly as a result of impairment of vital organs, for example, liver. Now, the causes of dengue include the dengue virus. Dengue fever virus is a RNA virus of the family Flavidae, genus Flavivirus. Other members of the same genus include yellow fever virus, West Nile virus, Zika virus, St. Louis encephalitis virus, Japanese encephalitis virus, tick-borne encephalitis virus, Omask hemorrhage fever virus. Most of they transmitted by arthropod mosquitoes or ticks and therefore referred as a arbovirus. The dengue virus genome contained about 11,000 nucleotide bases which code for the three different type of protein molecules that from virus particle and seven other non-structured protein molecules and that are found in infected host cells only are required for replication of the virus. These are five strains of virus called serotypes, of which the first four are referred to as DENV1, DENV2, DENV3, and DENV4. The fifth type of announced in 2013. The distinct between the distinctions between the serotypes are based on their antigenicity. Now, the transmission, it is the most important point what how the virus is transmitted. Dengue virus is primarily transmitted by Aedes mosquito, particularly Aedes aegypti. These mosquitoes usually live between the latitude 35 degree north and 35 degrees south below an elevation of 1000 meters. They typically bite during the early morning and in the evening, but they may bite and thus spread infection at any time of a day. Other Aedes species that transmit the disease include several types of other Aedes species like Aedes polynegenesis, etc. Humans are primarily host for the virus, but it also circulates in non-human primates. An infection can be acquired by a single bite. A female mosquito that takes a blood meal from a person infected with dengue fever during the initial 2 to 10 days febrile period become itself infected with the virus in the cells lining its gut. About 8 to 10 days later, the virus is spread to other tissues including the mosquito's salivary glands and is subsequently released into its saliva. The virus seems to have no detrimental effect on the mosquito, which remain infected for life. Aedes aegypti is particularly involved at its prefer in the lay its egg in artificial water container to live in closely proximity to humans and it to feed on people rather than the other vertebrates. Dengue can also be transmitted by infected blood products through blood organ donation. In countries such as Singapore, where dengue is endemic, the risk of estimated to be between 1.6 to 6 per 10,000 transfusion. Vertical transmission during pregnancy or at birth has been reported. Other person to person mode of transmission included sexual transmission has also been reported, but are very unusual. The genetic variation in dengue virus is region specific, suggestion that establishment into new territories is relatively infrequent, despite dengue emerging in new regions in recent decades. There are lots of treatment area or there are lots of treatment are present about the dengue virus. The WHO classified dengue virus into two groups, uncomplicated and severe. Severe cases are likely to excessive hemorrhage, organ implantation, severe plasma escape, and remaining cases are considered uncomplicated. According to the 1997 classification, dengue can be divided into fever, dengue, DHF. DHF was further divided into first to fifth grade. First to fourth grade, grade 1 only mild bursting a positive Turku test. Grade 2, spontaneous bleeding into skin elsewhere. Grade 3, clinical sign of shock. Grade 4, severe shock. Fever, pulse, and blood pressure cannot be recorded. So, these are the classification by the WHO. Now, we are going to discuss what is lymphatic fibrosis. Lymphatic fibrosis, considered globally as a neglected tropical disease (NTD), is a parasitic disease caused by microscopic thread-like worms. The adult worms only live in a human lymph system. The lymph system maintains a body fluid balance and fight infections. Lymphatic filariasis is spread from person to person by mosquito. People with the disease can suffer from lymphedema and elephantiasis in a man, swelling of the scrotum called hydrocele. Lymphatic filariasis is a leading cause of permanent disability worldwide. Communities frequently shun and reject women and men distinguished by the disease. Affected people frequently are unable to work because of their disability and thus harms in their family and their communities. So, this is something about the lymphatic filariasis. The cause and transmission of lymphatic filariasis are as follows. The lymphatic filariasis is caused by infection with parasitic classified as nematodes, roundworms of the family Flurioideae. There are three types of threadworm filarial worms. These are clearly seen in the presentation. It can clearly, you can note down from the presentation. Adult worm nest in the lymphatic vessel and disrupt the normal function of the lymphatic system. The worm can live for approximately 6 to 8 years and during their lifetime producing millions of microfilaria, immature larvae they circulate in the blood. Lymphatic filariasis, known as elephantiasis, means it is also known as elephantiasis, is a painful and profoundly distinguished disease. It is caused by an infection with parasitic classified as nematodes, roundworm of the family Filariidae, that are transmitted through the bites of infected mosquitoes. Mosquitoes transmitted larvae are deposited on the skin from they enter the body. The larvae then mosquito to the lymphatic vessels where they develop into adult worm, thus continuing a cycle of transmission. In countries where filariasis is transmitted, all ages are affected. While the infection may be acquired during childhood, invisible manifestations such as lymphedema may occur later in life, causing temporary and permanent disability. In endemic countries, lymphatic filariasis has a major social and economic impact. So, this is something about the lymphatic filariasis. What about the lymphatic? Now, some key fact of lymphatic filariasis. Lymphatic filariasis impair the lymphatic system, can lead to the abnormal enlargement of the body parts, causing pain, severe disability, and social stigma. 893 million people in 49 countries worldwide remain threatened by the lymphatic filariasis and acquire preventive chemotherapy to stop the spread of the parasitic infection. In 2000, over 120 million people were infected and about 40 million distinguished and incapacitated by the disease. Lymphatic filariasis can be eliminated by stopping the spread of infection through preventive chemotherapy with safe medicine combination repeated annually. More than 7.7 million treatments have been delivered to stop the spread of infection since 2000. 597 million people no longer require preventive chemotherapy due to successful implementation of WHO strategies. A basic recommendation package of care and alternative suffering and prevent further disability among people living and disease caused by the lymphatic filariasis. Now, we can discuss the symptoms of lymphatic filariasis. Whereas the disease once thought to affect only adults, it now appears the most infections are acquired in childhood. Initial Infection is followed by a long period of subclinical disease, which progress in later life to clinical manifestation. Lymphatic filariasis can cause a variety of clinical manifestation, can be grouped in three categories: acute attack lymphoedema, elephantiasis, and hydrocele. The adult filariasis worm can cause inflammation of the lymphatic system, leading to lymphatic vessel damage even in asymptomatic people, and lymphatic dysfunction, which predispose the lower limb in particular to recurrent bacterial infection. These secondary infections provoke acute attack, which are the commonest symptom of lymphatic filariasis and play an important role in progression of lymphoedema. Acute attack is usually associated with local pain and swelling with fever and chills. Lymphoedema and its more advanced from elephantiasis occur primarily in the lower limb and are common in women. In its most advanced form, elephantiasis may prevent people from carrying out their normal daily activities. Lymphatic filariasis may also involve towards a genital disease, hydrocele, that is characterized by swelling of the scrotum and penis. The vast majority of infected people are asymptomatic, but virtually all of them they suffer from damage to the lymphatic system and the kidneys and from altered body immune system. Now, the treatment, if we talk about the treatment strategy, people affected with filariasis who have microfilariemia or positive antigen test should receive antifilarial drug treatment to eliminate microfilaria. Unfortunately, the medicine available have limited effect on adult worm. Treatment also involve the management of morbidity and disability prevention that include the simple hygiene measures such as basic skin care, exercise to prevent acute attack and progression of lymphoedema to elephantiasis. For management of hydrocele, surgery may be appropriated. The treatment include also psychological and socio-economic support for people with disabling condition to ensure that have equal access to rehabilitation services and opportunity for health, education and income. Activity beyond medical care and rehabilitation include promoting positive attitude towards people with disabilities, preventing the cause of disabilities, providing education and training, supporting local activities, and supporting micro and macro income genetic schemes. Preventing chemotherapy is usually at the community level to eliminate microflora from the blood of infected individual in order to interrupt transmission of infection by the mosquitoes. So this is all about the lymphatic filariasis. Now I'm going to discuss what is pneumonia. Pneumonia is a lung infection that can range from mild to a severe that you have to go to the hospital. It happens when an infection causes the air sac of your lungs to fill up the fluid or pus. They can make it hard for you to breathe if enough oxygen reach your bloodstream. Anyone can get the lung infection, but infants younger than 2 and people over a 65 years of age 65 years at a higher risk. That's because their immune system might not be strong enough to fight it. You can get pneumonia in one or both lungs. You can also have it and not known it. Doctors call it walking pneumonia. Causes included the bacteria, virus, and fungi. If your pneumonia results from bacteria or virus, you can spread it to someone else. Lifestyles like smoking, cigarette, drinking too much alcohol can also raise your chances to getting pneumonia. Here, the picture which is included in the presentation clearly seen the what is the condition between the normal alveoli and the pneumonic alveoli. You can see the normal alveoli are very seen in normal, but the pneumonia in case of pneumonia with lungs, you can the collection of fluid will be there. The symptoms of pneumonia. Then your symptoms can vary depending on the what causing your pneumonia, your age, and your overall health. They usually develop over several days. Common symptoms include the chest pain when you breathe or cough that produce mucus, fatigue, loss of appetite, fever, sweating and chills, nausea, vomiting and diarrhea, shortness of breath. Along with these symptoms, older adult and people with a weak immune system might be confused over have changes in mental awareness or they have a lower than usual body temperature. Newborns and infants may not show any sign of infection or they may vomit, have a fever and have a cough and seem restless or tired. If there are lots causes of pneumonia, some bacteria, virus, or fungi can cause pneumonia. Common causes include the flu virus, cold virus, the RSV virus, the top cause of pneumonia in babies age 1 or younger, the bacteria called Streptococcus pneumonia or Mycoplasma pneumonia. Some people who are the hospital get ventilator associated pneumonia if they got the infection while using a ventilator, a machine that help you breathe. Ventilator, which is a machine that help you breathe. If you get pneumonia while you are in hospital and they are not a ventilator, that is called hospital acquired pneumonia. But most people get community acquired pneumonia, which means they did not get in a hospital. Now, here you can see the clearly seen the causes of pneumonia and the symptoms of pneumonia. Now, what is the diagnosis and treatment of pneumonia? Your doctor will start with question about your symptoms and your medical history, like whether you smoke, whether you have been around sick people at home, school or work. Then they will listen to your lungs. If you have a pneumonia, they have clear cracking, bubbling, or rumbling sounds when you breathe in. If your doctor think you might have pneumonia, they will probably give you the test, including the blood test, to look for sign of a bacterial infection. A chest X-ray to find the infection in your lungs and how far it's spread. Pulse oximetry to measure the level of oxygen in your blood. A sputum test to check the fluid in your lungs for the cause of infection. If your symptoms started in a hospital or you have two other health problems, your doctor might have you more tests such as a arterial blood gas test to measure the oxygen in a small amount of blood taken from one to your arteries, bronchoscopy to check your airways for blockage or other problems, a CT scan to get a more detailed image of your lungs, a pleural fluid culture in which the doctor removes a small amount of fluid from your tissues around your lungs to look for bacteria that might cause pneumonia. Pneumonia complication including the bacteremia in which the bacteria spread into your blood. This can cause a septic shock or organ failure. Trouble breathing, which might mean you need to use a breathing machine while your lungs heal. Fluid buildup between the layers of tissue and line your lungs and chest cavity. This fluid can also become infected. Lung abscess, when a pocket of pus forms inside and around your lungs. The treatment of pneumonia include if you have bacterial pneumonia, you will get antibiotics. Make sure that you take care of your medicine your doctor gives you, even if you start to feel better before you are through with it. If you have a viral pneumonia, antibiotic won't help. You need to rest, drink, or lots of fluid, and take medicines for your fever. If your symptoms severe or if you have a other condition that make you more likely to have complication, your doctor may send you to hospital. With any kind of pneumonia, recovery will take time. You are going to need to lot of rest. You might need to week of your usual routine, and you could still feel tired from mouth. So these are something regarding pneumonia. Basically, the cause of pneumonia, bacteria, virus, and the Streptococcus pneumoniae is the main causative agent, which is also known as pneumococci. So this is the main causative agent of pneumonia. In simple words, if we define pneumonia, pneumonia is an infection that inflame the air sac in one or both lungs. The air sac may fill with fluid or pus causing cough and First, fever, chest difficulty breathing. A variety of organisms, include bacteria, virus, and fungi, can cause pneumonia. Pneumonia can range as a seriousness from mild to life-threatening. It is most serious for infants and young children, people older than 65, as early I told, and people with health problems or weakened immune system. So this is all regarding the pneumonia, filaria, and lymphatic filariasis and dengue fever. So there is some other type of pneumonia like hospital acquired pneumonia, means some people catch pneumonia during a hospital stay from another illness. Hospital acquired pneumonia can be serious because the bacteria causing it may be more resistant to antibiotic and because of the people who get already sick. People who are breathing machines, ventilator are often used in intensive care unit are at higher risk of type of pneumonia. Next, healthcare acquired pneumonia. Healthcare acquired pneumonia is a bacterial infection that occurs in people who live in long-term care facilities or who receive care in outpatient clinics, including the kidney dialysis centers like hospital acquired pneumonia. Healthcare acquired pneumonia can be caused by bacteria and more resistance to antibiotics. Aspiration pneumonia. Aspiration pneumonia occur when you inhale food, drink, vomit, or saliva into your lungs. Aspiration is more likely if someone disturbs your normal gag reflex, such as brain injury or swallowing problem or excessive use of alcohol or drugs. So this is all about the pneumonia, dengue, and lymphatic filariasis. Thank you so much for careful.